So around 11 months ago now, I brought you guys my 1 to 24 League One table predictions. In today's video, we are going to be revisiting them predictions and seeing how well or poor I have done with them. If you do go on to enjoy today's video, please make sure to drop a like on there for me. If you could try and hit 70 likes on today's video, that'd be massively appreciated. Subscribe if you're new as well. We are on the road to 8,000 subscribers, so please make sure you are subscribed if you haven't already with that post notification bell on. It's free to do so and it does massively help out. Let me know down in the comment section down below, how did you get on with your League One predictions? We'll also be reacting to my Championship and Premier League predictions coming up very soon. We've already reacted to my League 2 predictions. They were absolutely terrible, so make sure to go check that video out if you haven't already. For a league which my team don't play in, my points total isn't actually too bad. There's one team which I'm 17 places out on, but apart from that, overall, it's pretty good. I feel like the league was pretty easy to predict, to be fair, in terms of who's going to finish in the top half and who's going to finish in the bottom half. There's a lot that I'm only 1, 2 or 3 places out on, which I'm quite happy about, but make sure to drop a like on there for me, subscribe if you're new as well, and let's get into it. Starting out then in 24th position, I predicted Morecambe FC. In the end, they finished in 22nd, so I was 2 places out on that one, so I pick up 2 points. In the end, we'll add up all the points and see how many I do accumulate. This is the first time I've done a League One table prediction video since the 18-19 season, when obviously my team Bradford City were in League One. But back onto Morecambe then, I said in the video I didn't expect Cole Stockton to be able to carry Morecambe as well as what he did in the previous campaign. He started out the season so poorly because he didn't get his move in the summer. Him and Derek Adams seemed to have a little bit of friction. He picked up his form towards the end of the campaign and he will probably get a move now to a very good League One club, but a terrible season for Morecambe overall. They've had numerous off-the-field issues, and while the players have given it their all for the majority of the season, they've just not had the quality, and it's, I think, the first time in their history that they have been relegated, but I was only 2 places out on that one, so I'm not too bothered about that prediction. In 23rd place, I predicted Exeter City. In the end, they finished in 14th place, so I pick up 9 points for that one. That was my joint second worst prediction. I actually think at the time, this wasn't a bad prediction. Obviously, all these predictions were made before a ball had been kicked, and I made this prediction because Exeter had only made the 2 signings. They made, I think, a central midfielder on loan from Southampton and Jamal Blackman, the goalkeeper. I didn't think they'd done enough to keep themselves in the division. Obviously, Matt Taylor left as well at some point during the season. He went to Rotherham. They brought in, I can't for the life of me remember, is it Gary Caldwell? Something like that. And he's done a decent job, to be fair. You know, mid-table for the first season back in League One is a very solid season, to be fair, for Exeter. So, yeah, disappointed with that prediction. But at the time, I don't think it was too bad. In 22nd place, I predicted Cheltenham Town. In the end, they ended up finishing in 16th, so I was 6 places out on that occasion. I thought the loss of Michael Duff would be a significant one. It was a little bit, but not too much, because they didn't end up getting relegated. I think this summer transfer window, they're definitely going to lose Alfie May, which is obviously a massive blow for them. I do think they will struggle next season. Predicting them to finish in the relegation zone when they lost Duff, I don't think was a bad prediction. Obviously, I think, was it Elliot Wade or something like that came in and did a steady job, to be fair, for his, I think, the first season in full management, I want to say. And yeah, not a horrendous prediction, but still not a great one. And in 21st place, the final team that I predicted to go down was Port Vale. In the end, they finished in 18th, so I pick up 3 points there, but they weren't far away from relegation whatsoever. Sacking Darryl Clark just months after giving him a 4-year contract was a really, really bizarre decision, in my opinion. Overall, they've done enough to stay in League One. You know, their first season back in League One, they're not going to complain about that whatsoever. I thought they would go down. In the end, they just about managed to survive, but I really do worry for them next season. I think them, Cheltenham, they're certainly my relegation favourites at this moment in time. In 20th place, I predicted Forest Green Rovers. In the end, they finished rock bottom, so I was 4 places out on that occasion. I thought they would just about be able to survive. In the end, they've had an absolutely shocking campaign. I thought the losses of Kane Wilson, Nicky Cadden, Ebu Adams, you know, they had numerous players who departed the club. They lost their manager as well in the end. I didn't think they would have as significant an effect as what they did. In the end, though, Forest Green were absolutely shocking. They released a number of really, really good talent. Obviously, Duncan Ferguson came in as well after he sacked, I want to say, the former Notts County manager halfway through the season. It was a really, really poor campaign for Forest Green. In the end, they have gone down, and I wouldn't really say, looking at their squad right now, I'm fearful, to be honest with you, looking at them for next season. But either way, not a bad prediction, just the 4 places out on that one. In 19th place, I predicted Fleetwood Town. In the end, they ended up finishing in 13th place, so I was 6 places out on that one. Not a horrendous prediction, but I think I could have done a little bit better with that one. I think if they hadn't have made the signings of Jadon Stockley and Jack Marriott in the January transfer window, I certainly think that one might have been a little bit more likely, but I don't think that's a horrendous prediction. Fleetwood obviously have had a pretty solid campaign for a first full season in charge for Scott Brown. They've done fairly well this season. I don't think Fleetwood can ever really complain about finishing 13th in League One. In 18th place, I predicted Burton Albion. They finished 3 places better in 15th, so again, not too bad of a prediction there. They had a shaky start to the season, but in the end, they finished pretty strong, and, you know, they've done a pretty good job there. They were strong at home throughout the majority of the campaign. I think it was Dino. I genuinely can't remember his last name, but the manager who they've currently got at the moment seems to have steadied the ship there after the terrible football they were having to watch under Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, where it looked like they were done and dusted, but fair play to Dino and his staff. In 17th place, I predicted Bristol Rovers. In the end, they finished in 17th place, so that one is bang on. I pick up no points for that one. Pretty solid prediction from me there. I thought, looking at them for the first half of the season, I was like, oh, this could be a really bad prediction here, but they seemed to fall off a little bit towards the end of the campaign. Then in the end, I was bang on with that prediction, so I can never complain about that. Aaron Collins, for the first half of the season, was incredible. I think he actually won the League One player of the season, which surprised me a little bit. I wouldn't say I agree with that, but first half of the season, he was absolutely electric. Picking up no points for that one though and getting a prediction bang on, I'm never going to complain about. In 16th place, I predicted Cambridge United. They just about managed to survive, finishing in 20th, so I was 4 places out on that one. Yes, obviously, Paul Mullin was a significant loss in their first season, but then Sam Smith and Joe Ironside stepped up. There was question marks over whether they could do it again, and to be fair, both of them have done a pretty good job. I think they have both been released though by Cambridge, which surprised me, to be honest with you. I don't know if that was because the players have turned down the deal, or I'm not really too sure what's going on there, but they seem to be having a complete rebuild, really. It looked like they were done. It looked pretty much done and dusted that they would be relegated, and then they had a brilliant great escape towards the end of the campaign. In the end, they have just about managed to survive. They'll need a rebuild though if they don't want that to be repeating next season, and only 4 places out on that prediction. I don't think that's the end of the world. In 15th place, I predicted Accrington Stanley. In the end, they finished in 23rd, so I was 8 places out on that one. A really, really poor prediction from me. I knew the loss of Colby Bishop and Ross Sykes were going to be 2 significant losses for them. In the end, though, it was a lot worse than what I originally thought. They just did not have enough goals in that side, conceding far too many sloppy goals. Their disciplinary record was a joke. The amount of red cards they picked up last season was terrible. Losing Matt Butcher as well on a free transfer to Plymouth, that clearly hindered them in the midfield. In the end, though, they will be playing League 2 football next season. A really poor campaign for Accrington, and obviously my team Bradford City will be finishing. We'll be visiting them next campaign. In 14th place, I predicted Steve Cottrell's Shrewsbury Town. In the end, they finished 2 places better in 12th, so not a bad prediction from me there whatsoever. I was fairly impressed with their recruitment. I didn't think they'd quite have enough to push on into the top half and into the playoffs, but in the end, I've managed a top half finish just about. And then I think it was a couple of days ago now, it was confirmed that Steve Cottrell has been sacked by Shrewsbury Town. It seems to have been a fallout between him and the board. I think that's a ludicrous decision. I think Cottrell have done a really, really good job at Shrewsbury Town, and it is a shame from their point of view to see him move on. In 13th place, I predicted Lincoln City. In the end, they finished in 11th. A really, really good season for Lincoln, finishing 2 places better than what I predicted. So again, not a bad prediction from me there. I knew the signing of Paul O'Connor from my team Bradford City was a very good one. He had a brilliant campaign, to be fair. They have now lost Regan Poole though, so it'll be interesting to see how they do go about replacing him this transfer window. Charles Wernham as well, who signed from my team Bradford City at the same time as Paul O'Connor. He didn't really work out for him, to be honest with you, as we all kind of expected, because he's not really ever cut the mustard in League One, injury problems and all that sort of stuff. But a very, very solid season for Lincoln City. Their home form throughout the whole campaign was very good. In the end, I thought they finished bottom half. They ended up finishing in the top half, but again, 2 places out. I'm not going to complain about that. In 12th place, I predicted Oxford United. In the end, they had a really, really poor season, finishing in 19th. It looked like at one point they were destined for relegation under Carl Robinson. They sacked him. They brought in Liam Manning. In the end, they got the job done. I was 7 places out on that one, so I pick up 7 points there. Really, really poor prediction from me, but on paper, it's not a bad prediction. Just Oxford really, really did underachieve this season, and I'm sure it's going to be one they want to forget. They'll be looking to try and challenge for the playoffs, but there's so much quality in the top half of the table going into next season. I can only really see another mid-table finish for Liam Manning's side. In 11th place, I predicted Wycombe Wanderers. In the end, they finished in 9th, so I was 2 places out on that one. I knew they wouldn't quite have enough to make it into the playoffs. In the end, I thought they'd be more mid-table. They just missed out. Losing Gareth Ainsworth, though, at the time that they did, was a massive loss for them. Obviously, he went to QPR and he struggled there so far. Matt Bloomfield's come in from Colchester and he hasn't really set the world on fire at all. You know, he's not really proved himself as a manager at either Colchester or Wycombe Wanderers so far. In the end, though, not a bad prediction from me. I think if Ryan Tafazoli maybe didn't have his injury problems, they could have potentially challenged for the playoffs, but I think they'd lose, Mehmeti or something like that as well in January to Bristol City. I want to say that was also a big loss for them. In the end, not a bad prediction from me. In 10th place, I predicted the champions at Plymouth Argyle. 9 places out on that one. I didn't think they'd have enough to challenge for the playoffs this season. In the end, they've gone 5 better, really. They've absolutely smashed it, won the league. They're an absolutely excellent campaign. Fair play to Stephen Schumacher, his staff, and his players. I'm still never going to forgive them, though, for taking Tyreek Wright off our hands. They don't want him. Their fans don't want him. It just makes sense just to let us have him back, please. They don't need him. If it wasn't good enough, in their opinion, in League One, then how's he going to get on in the Championship? I think another loan spell back to a League Two club. If you want to send him to Bradford City, that is no complaints with us. But in terms of their actual season, they were absolutely outstanding. Even when they lost Morgan Whittaker in January, it looked like that was going to be a significant loss for them. In the end, it didn't matter all too much. They've gone on and won the league. Absolutely outstanding season. So fair play to everyone involved at Plymouth Argyle. That was a really, really poor prediction from me. But I don't think anyone would have predicted Plymouth Argyle to win the league. Even the most deluded of Plymouth fans at the start of the season. In 9th place, I predicted Bolton Wanderers. In the end, they finished in 5th. So I was 4 places out on that one. Not horrendous prediction, but at that part of the table, 9th and 5th seems a lot more than just 4 places out. Yeah, it was a poor prediction from me. I didn't think they'd have enough to make it into the playoffs this season. Ian Everett's side was so good defensively. Trafford, Santos, they had some unbelievable players. In the end, they got to the playoffs. They lost out, though, in the semi-finals to Barnsley. It was still a really, really good campaign for Bolton, and I would certainly back them for a top 6 place next season. But overall, not a horrendous prediction. In 8th place, I predicted at Charlton Athletic. I said I was putting my neck on the line by predicting Charlton to finish that high up. In the end, they just finished 2 places worse, though, in 10th place. It was, again, another really, really poor season for Charlton. They're struggling so much at the moment in League One, especially over the last couple of seasons, with the amount of off-the-field issues they're having, numerous ownership changes, and all that sort of stuff. It looked on paper, the Ben Garner appointment seemed a good one. They brought in some of his players from Swindon, with Wallacott, with Jack Payne, with Egbo. He brought in a fair, decent amount of players. In the end, though, they've massively underachieved once again, finishing in 10th place. Only 2 points out, only 2 places out, sorry, so I pick up 2 points there. Not a horrendous prediction, but certainly not a great one. In 7th place, and just missing out on the playoffs, I predicted at Barnsley. They finished 3 places better in 4th, and were pretty comfortable inside that playoffs in the end. They had a really, really good campaign. I didn't think in Michael Duff's first season as Barnsley manager, they would quite have enough to make it into that top 6. He had a really, really good campaign. Arguably manager of the season. They were absolutely fantastic, especially in the second half of the campaign. He got a really good tune out of players like Devante Cole, and clearly did much better than what I thought. Just 3 places out, though, so not the end of the world. I'm not too disappointed with that prediction. In 6th place and picking up a playoff spot, I predicted Portsmouth. They finished 2 places worse in 8th. Again, not a horrendous prediction. It didn't really work out this season for Portsmouth. Once again in League One, they've been here, 6-7 seasons now. In the first half of the season under Danny Cowley and Nicky Cowley, they really, really did struggle. They brought in an inexperienced manager in John Mousinho, and it's been mixed so far. I think it either next season goes really well for Portsmouth and they make it into that top 6, or I think they finish in the bottom half. I don't think it's another season where they just missed out on the playoffs. I think Mousinho needs to get it right this season. He was given a long-term contract by the football club, so they clearly see a good coach in there. And from the interviews that I've listened of him, he seems to know what he's talking about, but I'm not sure. I think it's the lack of experience is going to cost them in the end. This season, I thought they'd do a lot better than what they did. Just 2 places out, so not a horrendous prediction once again. In 5th place, I predicted at Derby County. Again, like Portsmouth, they finished 2 places worse in 7th, missing out on the playoffs on the final day when But I think Peterborough beat Barnsley and Derby lost to Sheffield Wednesday when Derby had been in the playoffs for the majority of the campaign. Just 2 places out, so again, not a horrendous prediction there, but with the players that were in that Derby squad, you would expect them to at least make that top 6. But that just proves how competitive League One was, because a team like as good as what Derby were didn't even make it into the playoffs. It looks very likely, as of right now, their leading goal scorer last season and arguably their best player, David McGoldrick, is set to leave Derby County to join Notts County in League 2, which I think is absolutely ludicrous. But like what I said about Derby County, just 2 places out, so not a horrendous prediction. The worst prediction that I think I've ever had, though, in 4th place, I predicted MK Dons. They finished 17 places worse in 21st. They were relegated, and I thought they'd be 3 positions away from winning the league. This is an absolutely shocking prediction, but at the start of the season, I don't think it was a bad one. Obviously, the loss of Scott Twine to Burnley and Harry Down to Swansea proved a lot worse than what we originally thought. I thought they'd make the playoffs. In the end, they've been relegated. Genuinely, the worst prediction I've ever had on all the leagues that I've ever done. An absolutely shocking prediction. But at the start of the season, find me someone who didn't have MK Dons in that top 6, top 10 places. I think everyone thought they would. Liam Manning this season didn't work out for him at MK Dons. And yeah, in the end, they've been relegated. I'll be interested to see how they get on next season, because I think they'll lose a lot of their better players and a lot of their star players, in my opinion, like a Mo Isa and players like that. In third place, I predicted Ipswich Town. They finished one place better in second, so I'm not against that prediction at all. I don't think that's a bad prediction. I thought they'd make the playoffs. I didn't think they'd have enough to make the top 2. In the end, though, they have been the second best team in the league and deserve to be automatically promoted, back into the Championship after a few tough seasons under, well, different managers really, under Paul Cook, and now, obviously, is it Liam McKenna? Liam McKenna? Is that right? Just had a quick Google. It's Kieran McKenna. Either way, besides the point, he's had a really, really good season at Ipswich. Yes, they've spent money. They've brought in some quality players. Leif Davies, Connor Chaplin, Nathan Broadhead. The list could go on. The amount of quality players who are in that Ipswich squad. I don't think they're going to have to spend too much money and strengthen too much to really compete in the Championship. I think their squad is already ready for the Championship. They just need to sprinkle in a couple of other good, decent players and just give that squad a little bit more of a lift as well. And I think they'll be more than fine in the Championship next season. I thought they finished third. In the end, they've been automatically promoted. Just one place out on that prediction, though. Not bad at all. In second place, I predicted Peterborough United. In the end, they finished in 6th, so I was 4 places out on that one. They were nowhere near the top 2 all season, were they? They just sneaked into the playoffs on the final day of the season. I think the only game week they were in the playoffs was on game week 46. They were absolutely shocking under Grant McCann. They brought back Darren Ferguson for the 5 millionth time, and everyone, were giving him stick and all that sort of stuff. In the end, though, they did reach the playoffs. They lost out in a dramatic semi-final against Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, that first leg when they were 4-0, I thought everyone probably thought that Peterborough would be progressing through to Wembley. In the end, though, they were knocked out in that second leg, losing 5-1 overall, and then obviously losing on penalties after it was 5-5 on aggregate. A really, really good season under Darren Ferguson, shocking season under Grant McCann. Overall, not a horrendous prediction, but in terms of the points difference, I was absolutely miles out there with Peterborough United. And in first place, I predicted Sheffield Wednesday to win the league. They finished in third, so I was 2 places out on that one. I knew Sheffield Wednesday would be promoted to the Championship this season. I thought it would be as champions. In the end, they went up through the playoffs. An absolutely crazy drama in the playoffs and everything like that. Like what I mentioned about Peterborough there. 4-0 down in the first leg, winning 5-1 in the second leg, then winning on penalties, and then the crazy drama that was the League One playoff final where they scored and then it was disallowed, and they scored a 123rd minute winner against your rivals at Wembley. It doesn't really get much better than that, does it? I was 2 places out on the prediction, but I'm sure Sheffield Wednesday fans, let me know down in the comment section down below. Would you have rather been promoted how you did, or would you have rather just won the league like what Plymouth did? I think as a football fan, you'd like to experience the drama a lot more of the playoffs, but when you're on the losing end of it like a Peterborough or a Barnsley, it's absolutely heartbreaking. If we add up then the differences and how many points I've accumulated from this season, in the end I accumulated 104 points, which is not a bad prediction whatsoever. I'm more than happy to take that. My League 2 predictions over the last couple of seasons have been in the 140s mark, so I'm not going to complain with that whatsoever. For a first League 1 prediction in a number of years, I don't think that's too bad. Let me know down in the comment section down below, how many points did you accumulate from your League 1 predictions at the start of the campaign? I am going to leave it there though for today's video. If you have enjoyed, please make sure to drop a like on there for me. If you could try and hit 70 likes. As I said at the start of today's video, that'd be massively appreciated. Subscribe if you are new as well. We are on the road to 8,000 subscribers, so please make sure you are subscribed if you haven't already with that post notification bell on. It's free to do so and it does massively help out. Drop a comment in as well down in the comment section down below to help boost the video in the YouTube algorithm. Also, let me know what was your best and worst prediction from the League 1 season just gone by. Thank you very much for watching today's video. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all very soon for another one. Peace.